Good morning, everyone. My name's Jenny, and I am the Learning Engagement Programs Manager at Philbrook Museum. And it's already time for another family art club. You might notice around behind me that my setup has changed a little bit, but like all of us, we are now at home, and I brought my art studio at work to my house so that I could keep sharing awesome art projects with you all. So today we are going to be creating our own stamps and stamp pad. And I'm going to be using things that you probably have at home, lots of recycled materials. This is one of my favorite activities for exploring textures, for exploring patterns, for using recycled materials. There's really just like so many different things you can do once you know how to make a stamp. So first things first, we need our stamp pad. I actually already created our stamp pad, but what I did is this part might look recognizable to you. This is a container that we get our mushrooms in. I had that in my recycling bin. And then I also had like one of these sponges like for a car wash. It's really soft and it's really absorbent and it really soaks up our paint for our stamp pad really well. And so then I just cut it to fit in my mushroom container. I also made it a little bit less tall, just because like the less tall it is, the less paint you have to use. But if you don't have like a car wash sponge at your house, you can also use just like a regular kitchen sponge. These are just generic kitchen sponges and they would work great too. So once you have your sponge in your container, you can use a mushroom container, you can use really anything. You could even use like a Tupperware because we're using washable paint. The paint will just wash right out when you're done. So I stuffed the sponge down in here, and then I am using this washable, non-toxic Tempera paint. I really like this brand, but you can use whatever brand you have. Just like the viscosity and the texture of this is really nice. And then it's really simple. You just like drizzle it on. I've already got paint in here, so I'm just gonna do a little bit. And then I like to take like a spoon or a spatula or something, like a wooden spoon a lot of times, and just kind of move the paint over your sponge, and that'll help the paint distribute evenly into the sponge, as well as also speed up the like soaking in process, so you don't have to wait around as long to get the paint like fully into your new stamp pad. All right. So I've got my stamp pad. But I like need some stamps now. So there's so many different like recyclable stamps that you probably already have at home. It's kind of like a challenge to dig through all of your recycling materials and stuff you have around the house to see what could make a good stamp. One of my favorites is actually cardboard. So I've got this cardboard and I've already started pulling one side of the paper away from the other side so I get awesome corrugation, and it's really pretty. Once you get the hang of it, it's really simple to kind of separate them. You just pull evenly. I think that's the key, is you try and pull evenly away, and you can separate the corrugation pretty easily. And then just use your scissors, cut off a piece, And then I really like you could use it just like this, or you can use, like, cut a new shape. I'm gonna make a triangle. Okay, so then I've got a couple different stamps. Another great thing that you can use to make stamps are just like cups. I've got a bunch of different like little disposable paper cups that make all kinds of awesome circles. And then this, I've already used it in my tester, but it was a plastic container that I had bought, and it had like a set of pins inside of it. And so I just cut it, and so you can kind of see this is where like the clips were. And I really like this texture, so I'm going to try out and see what that does. And then also I have this foam, and you can get this foam at Lowe's or a home improvement store, but it's actually kind of really hard insulation, like an insulation foam. It comes in big squares, and you can really easily cut it to shape. You could also try carving into it to see what that does. And then, last but not least, we have all these recycled things. Oh, one of my favorite stamps is actually this awesome ball. Can you guess what it is? It is a dog toy. I'm looking around to see if my dog came over, but it's just like a squeaky dog toy, but I really like all these little nubs, and they make a really cool texture. And then there is a way you can also make your own stamps. So I don't know if you all have this at home, but this is like a craft foam with an adhesive back, so it's sticky on one side. It's really easy to cut, and that way you can make your own shapes. So you could do geometric shapes, you could do any kind of shapes you want. I'm just gonna do really quickly like a nice kind of organic shape, which means like it doesn't have straight sides and it's hard to define. It doesn't have a name per se. So I'm just gonna kind of make a little curvy little shape that I like the look of. So I actually kind of really like this little guy. So I'm gonna put this to the side, and then I'm going to peel off the backing like a sticker, because I mean, that's what this pretty much is. And I have a piece of cardboard here that I can stick it to. And then I'm just gonna trim it to fit. So then I've got a great stamp that I made the shape myself. So we are ready to start stamping. And I wanted to say just a quick moment about why I am only making one color. So when you are first discovering textures or patterns, I think color can be really like the thing that really catches your eye. But if you have too much color going on, it becomes difficult to really focus on your texture explorations. So when you're first introducing stamps like this, I like to just stick to one color, so that way when you're stamping with your kiddo, you can kind of really deeply engage and examine the different textures that you're making. And that way you could also go in and look at patterns and all kinds of stuff before you start adding in other colors into the mix. So a lot of times I will introduce the stamping and then kind of really give them give everybody like a test sheet to kind of start to explore what each material does. So let's start with this circle. I have a pretty good idea what this is going to look like because it looks like a circle and it stamps like a circle. But now I want to try, how about my cardboard? I'm not really sure what that's going to look like. So I'm going to press the cardboard gently into the stamp pad and lift it up. I've got some paint on there. And then gently press it onto my paper. And that's really cool because it's making some lines that are also a shape. I really like that. And then you can kind of just keep going and take your time, see what each different texture looks like. Let's see, I want to try this. So this one is really cool because it can do a shape, but it can also do, you can use the edge to make just single lines, which I kind of like. And then, ooh, what do you think this is going to do? I'm going to tap it in there. Oh, yeah. So this is really cool because I can kind of roll it around in my hand. And that's really fun. It makes this really cool kind of stippled, polka dotty kind of effect. That's really awesome. Okay, and then let's try the one that we made ourselves. So I'm going to stick that in there. This one, it can be like a little tricky to make sure you have paint on all of your foam. And then I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to go pretty gently. I'm going to press pretty gently. Oh yeah, there we go. And I can do it a couple times. That's cool. And I like how the second time it becomes like a ghost print because it's lighter than the dark one that I did first. So then once you have your page like this, and you can fill it up as much as you want, you've got a lot of really cool textures going on. And one of the things I really like to do is after I create several pages, is kind of use them as collage pages later. So once it's dry, you can cut your paper apart and make new shapes and use it in your collage work at home. It's like a really fun way to create these like textured or decorative or pattern sheets all by yourself instead of using like scrapbook paper or something else that you might use instead when you're collaging. So I hope you really have a lot of fun exploring how different things that you have around your house can make really cool stamps. I hope you'll share them with us. Hashtag Philbrook, hashtag Family Art Club. And, oh, also, so what do you do once you're all done? Well, these actually can kind of keep for several days. You can pop them into a Ziploc, keep the air from getting to them. But you can also then spritz them down with rubbing alcohol, and that will kind of kill any bacteria. And then just as they dry, just add more paint. So they won't last forever, but they'll last a fair amount of time. And so, yeah. Show me what you guys make. Oh, that was my dog. Show me what you guys make. Hashtag Philbrook, hashtag Family Art Club. And if you can't wait for next Monday when I'll see you again, you can go online to philbrook.org, and there are a lot of brand new activities that you guys can do at home that I've just uploaded. So have fun and check those out too. All right, guys, have a great week, and I will see you later. Oh gosh, now I have to find the remote. Technology's so hard.